Inside this box is an item critical to your progression in the Mistlands, but beware, you will not get it without a fight.
Wait, you'll regret this. Oh! They're acting on me. Oh god.
Damn it.
Inside is what I consider to be one of the 3 key pillars for progression in the Mistland. Stick with me as I capture the first pillar by navigating these giant skeletal remains, the second by exploring the Mistlands dungeons, and thirdly by breaking open the secret box. First, let's discuss how to find and ultimately prepare for the Mistlands. To find the Mistlands, sail far east or west until you spot dark, jutting rocks and dense fog. As you enter, you will quickly notice visibility in the Mistlands is next to 0. To enable sight in the dense mist, you will need the Torn Spirit dropped from defeating Yaglu. With the spirit in hand, craft and place the Wisp Fountain and wait for nightfall. At night, wisps will spawn around the fountain every 30 seconds or so. Interact with the floating blue wisps to add them to your inventory. Craft and equip the Wisp Light to maintain a floating wisp above your head to light your way through the mist. Unfortunately, it takes the place of other wearable items like the Measuring Jord Belt or Wishbone. With a light source, we can turn our attention towards the enemies in the Mistlands. As they are very strong, we will have to choose our armor and weapons carefully. For armor, you cannot go wrong with the highest armor value in the padded set, but I would strongly recommend you replace the padded cuirass with the root harness chest plate. Pierce damage is the predominant physical damage in this biome, so the harness will really shine. Alternatively, if you are a speed demon like myself, you can simply rock the full Fenris gear. In both cases, I strongly recommend you bring barley wine with you for fire resistance. As for weapons, pierce damage is the most common weakness of creatures in this biome, so I recommend the black metal axe gear or the Frostnir for that sweet elemental damage. Plus, the slowing effect caused by the freezing gives you much more time to outmaneuver your foes. You will also need a bow to tackle creatures in the sky and to generally keep your distance. Either the Dvergr Fang or Huntsman bows will do just fine. And finally, the Mistlands has countless stamina draining cliffs, so certainly get your rested bonus and consider bringing some stamina or tasty meats to help you out in a pinch. Now that we are properly prepared, it's time for us to begin our journey to uncover the 3 pillars of progression and most importantly, discover the contents of the box. The first creature you will encounter are the sweet, gentle, and passive hares, often found hopping around low-lying areas of the biome. However, do not let the hares lull you into false safety. The Mistlands are filled with violence, as you will soon see. That said, you should hunt the hares for their meat and hide, of which will be used in fantastic endgame food recipes and armor, respectively. Other passive creatures are the Dvergr, which can be found near various structures, such as guard towers, lighthouses near the water, excavation sites. What are they excavating anyways? Or in harbors. Within these structures is where you will find the secret boxes. More on the Dvergr, their excavations, and of course, the secret within the box later in the video. Unlike the hare and Dvergr, the most common aggressive creatures are the Seekers and Seeker Soldiers, both of which are resistant to all physical damage and immune to spirit, making them a pain in the butt fight. Seekers also fly, so keep that in mind when you think high ground will save you. The Soldiers, on the other hand, cannot fly, but are absolute tanks that deal a ton of damage. Beware of their AoE stomping attack. Fortunately, they are weak in their butts, almost all damage, so if you can get behind them, you can kill them quickly. The Frostnir really comes in handy here, allowing you to slow them and maneuver to their rear. Once defeated, the Seeker and Soldier will drop Carapace, Seeker meat, their trophies, and the Soldier has a chance to drop a Mandible. These items will contribute to both endgame weapons, armor, and foods, all of which I will cover in full detail later in this video. Speaking of foods, the Mistlands Wilderness introduces 2 new farmable crops in the Mage Caps and Jotun Puffs. Mage Caps are blue mushrooms found at the peak of jagged rocks in the biome and form the basis of Eitir generating foods. Eitir is Valheim's version of mana, required for spellcasting, which is an absolute blast to use. Jotun Puffs, on the other hand, are found in low-lying areas of the biome and will be foundational in recipes for endgame foods and meats. Both crops can only grow in the Mistlands, so mentally prepare to establish a farm in this treacherous biome. When building your farm, remember you can use your excess wisps from the fountain we built at the beginning to build wisp torches. Unlike other torches, these never burn out and therefore provide a permanent fixture of mist-clearing light. Before we get to the most dangerous foe in the Mistlands, you may have noticed on your adventures Yggdrasil shoots, ancient armor, swords, or skeletal remains. The Yggdrasil shoots are the native wood source of the biome, which will require a black metal axe to chop down. This wood is the backbone for endgame weapons and built structures like the black metal pickaxe, which we can use to mine the ancient swords and armor. These provide you with additional access to copper scrap and scrap iron, which can be smelted to iron and copper respectively. Thirdly, and most importantly, are the giant remains. remains. These are large skeletons composed of black marble. The marble mined from the remains can be used as a strong building material and an ingredient in the Mistlands crafting stations. However, these are often protected by nasty ticks. Ticks are unlike any other enemy in Valheim and will seek to attach themselves to you. If one sticks, it will continuously drain your health with rapid pierce damage. If you heeded my advice and wore the root harness, you can thank me later. The best way I have found to get them off once attached is to simply roll. That said, once popped, ticks will drop blood clots, which will be key in the crafting of magic wielding weapons and foods. On the bright side, the presence of ticks means there is soft tissue nearby. Take your black metal pickaxe, find the skull of the giant remains, and hack away. Once you break the skull, you'll find soft tissue inside. The soft tissue is the first of our 3 pillars of progression for the Mistlands. Second, we will find in the dungeons, but first, we must face the most fearsome of creatures this biome has to offer in the Yalls. Yalls are giant floating, blimp-like creatures that you will likely hear before you even see them, if you are lucky. The more likely outcome is you will be introduced to them with a fireball to the face.
Oh, what was that? I think I'm dead. I'm dead.
Fortunately, their underbellies are weak to pierce damage, so arrows will excel here. In addition to their fireball, they will drop a raiding party of ticks. Clean them up quickly or face the Yall's wrath. Once defeated, they will drop the bile bag, providing the recipe for a unique axe and a new type of tossable weapon in the bile bomb. With the Yall defeated, it's time to capture the second pillar of progression in the Mistlands Infested mines. The mines can be found in the basement of ruined black marble buildings or at the peak of marble staircases embedded in a cliff face. In my experience, these are often found on the coast of the biome. Inside, expect close combat with several rooms separated by wooden barricades. Move through the dungeon slowly, clearing a room before breaking into the next. You will find familiar enemies inside in the Seeker, Seeker Soldier, Ticks, in addition to Seeker Broods. Seeker Broods are baby Seekers that are easy to kill. They will drop royal jelly, or pick it from piles within the dungeon. The jelly will primarily be used in recipes for Iter generating foods, which we will cover shortly. Scattered across the dungeon, you will be able to get black marble, wood, and even certain cores and copper scraps from destroying Dvergr lanterns. However, the major loot is found in the hidden treasure rooms. Treasure rooms are found behind false walls as indicated by blue writing on the wall. Once open, you will find chests, and if you are lucky, black cores and seal breaker fragments. You must break the fragments case to acquire this item. I will cover the purpose behind these fragments as we turn our attention towards the biome's boss. The black cores, however, are our second pillar of progression. Black cores give us the recipe for the 2 Mistlands crafting tables and refinery in the Black Forge, Galdr table, and Iter refinery. In total, you will need 15 black cores to build all 3. A black core is not guaranteed within any given infested mine, so be prepared to explore several of these. Your first craft should be the Black Forge and its upgrade structures in the Black Forge Cooler and Vice, which will allow you to craft the Carapace Heavy Armor set and a suite of new weapons. Included is an all-new class in the Arbalest Crossbow, and 2 new shields amongst other things. One other weapon I do want to highlight is the Mist Walker. When crafted, it provides a source of light to assist in dispersing the mist in the Mistland. I've included a summary of the armor, weapons, shields, and their associated costs here on screen, so feel free to pause here to digest the information. One thing you will notice is that the max quality of all weapons and armor is currently capped at 3. The 4th quality level will not be available until the Ashlands release later this year. Secondly, the Galdr table and its upgrade structures in the Rune table and Unfading Candles will allow you to craft the all-new Iterweave armor set and a suite of magic casting staffs and an absolute busted feather cape. You will never take this thing off. More on this item a little later. Magic is an absolute blast to use, and I encourage you to experiment with using all of the 4 staffs and even try combining them. I've summarized the full list of craftable items at the Galdr table and their costs. While reviewing these, you will likely have noticed a couple ingredients I have not yet mentioned in sap and refined Iter. Let me explain. Refined Iter is made by combining sap and soft tissue at the Iter refinery. However, to enable this refining, we will have to revisit our Dvergr friends and finally open the box for our 3rd pillar of progression. The Dvergr component crate can be found in either guard towers, lighthouses, excavation sites, or harbors as described earlier. Once found, fortunately for us, Dvergrs are friendly and we can simply crack these open and carry on.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Psych, just kidding. If you damage any structure within the radius of one of their wards, every Dvergr within the vicinity will immediately become aggressive towards you, and they do not mess around. The Dvergr take a few different forms. First is the rogue, wielding a crossbow and dealing pierce damage, and second are the mages, which can come in 3 forms. First are blue frost mages that do frost and blunt damage. Second are red fire mages doing fire and blunt damage. And third are yellow support mages, which summon homing orbs, plus they can heal their allies with an AoE heal. Killing any of the Dvergrs will yield you coins, black marble, soft tissue, and potential for the Dvergr trophy. Pro tip, break open crates, as these are often filled with soft tissue. With the coast finally clear, you can safely destroy the Dvergr component crate and receive the Dvergr extractor. With the extractor, you will now be able to craft the sap extractor. Once crafted, place the extractor on one of the many ancient roots you will have seen scattered across the biome. As time passes, the extractor will pull sap from the root to a max capacity of 10. Return to the extractor for the 3rd pillar of progression in the Mistlands in sap. The ancient roots, however, have 3 different statuses you should be made aware of. First, full, which displays a text of the ancient root is pulsating with energy, meaning it contains approximately 25 sap. Half dried, which displays a text of the ancient's root glow is fading, meaning it contains approximately 10 sap. And finally, dried up, which displays a text of the ancient root seems all dried up, meaning it is without sap. When dried up, move your extractor to a new ancient root to continue extracting. Fortunately, ancient roots are a renewable resource, and after a day or 2, the original root will have refilled itself of sap once more. On my server, I generally alternate between 2 or 3 ancient roots near my base. With all 3 pillars in hand, you will now be able to combine sap and soft tissue into refined iter. You should know that the refining process of iter is volatile. While refining, iter will fly out, destroying nearby structures other than black marble. For this reason, I recommend building your refiner inside a black marble casing. With refined iter in hand, we may now begin crafting the weapons and armor that you will need to take on the almighty final boss. First things first, review the full list of food recipes you will have now made available to you to ensure you are eating the best foods ahead of your showdown with the Queen. As you can see from this table, the Mistlands added a new stat in addition to health and stamina in iter. Iter is effectively mana and is required to cast spells. To gain iter for spellcasting, you must first eat one of the iter foods, the Seeker Aspic for instance. With that said, once fed, you'll need 2 things to summon her. First, her location. The Queen resides inside the Infested Citadel. To place her on your map, you must first find her location runestone in one of the infested mines. Second, you'll need to have crafted the Seal Breaker. This can be crafted at the Galdr table by combining 9 Seal Breaker fragments. This will be used to open the doors into the Queen's lair. Unlike all other bosses, you do not summon the Queen first time you fight her, but rather as you enter her lair, she will be alive and roaming. If you want to fight her again, you may resummon her by sacrificing 3 Seeker trophies at her hive seat. The inside of the Infested Citadel is a tall structure with a staircase leading up around the perimeter. As a result, it's easy to fall. The Queen takes full advantage of the terrain with her attacks, doing a ton of knockback. For this reason, it's imperative you have the Feather Cape equipped for this fight, as it completely eliminates fall damage. If you have not seen this item in action, check this out. You can essentially fly with this thing. I never take it off. Furthermore, she is resistant to pierce damage, effectively neutralizing bows, and is also immune to spirit damage. With all that said, I recommend one of 2 strategies for defeating her. 1, melee while using the Carapace armor, or 2, with magic using the Iter Weave set. If choosing option 1, I recommend using the Crom or a polearm such as the Imanoff. The Queen's high attack speed prevents sufficient time to complete the typical 3-attack combo of most melee weapons. For this reason, the Crom shines by forgoing the 3-attack combo in favor of high damage dealing secondary attack. The Himanoffel, on the other hand, is great at handling the adds summoned by the Queen throughout the fight in addition to great damage. Alternatively, magic provides you with the opportunity to maintain distance from the Queen by focusing her down with the Staff of Embers, as well as dealing with the adds of the AoE damage. The Staff of Frost 2 can also be used to keep adds off you at closer range. Staff of Protection and Dead Razor are less viable if playing solo, as they consume health on use. That said, if with a party, the Staff of Protection can provide a protective bubble to allies. No matter the strategy you choose, Bowmaster's Forsaken Power is a must, and you should have both health and stamina potions on hand if in a pinch. Lastly, poison resistance should be popped ahead of the fight, as the Queen can rack up the poison damage. Once defeated, the Queen will drop her trophy and the Queen Drop. While the Queen Drop is a generic placeholder item that currently serves no purpose, you should take the trophy back to the sacrificial stones. Mount it on her corresponding stone to unlock her power, providing increased damage to rocks by 60% and increased Iter regeneration by 100% in 5 minutes. This will be a must-have choice for those miners and spellcasters out there. And with the Queen defeated, you can join me in the Ashlands waiting room, or start a brand new fresh playthrough in the Meadows by following my comprehensive video guide on screen now. And before you go, consider joining our community Discord, link in the description below.